Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? Ready for some new stories? Let's go to the first one, about OP's parents, who demand OP gets rid of her baby because her sister is struggling getting pregnant. Listen to the story, guys, to find out how it ends, and of course to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 28 female, am adopted. My parents have always clearly favored my sister, 30 female. She is their biological child. She was never treated badly, though. Here's where it all started. 2 years ago, I married my high school sweetheart, now 30 male. We found out I was pregnant in October last year. January 2nd was my birthday, and we were having a small party to celebrate. This is when I thought it would be a good time to announce that we were expecting. On the cake, we had written, "Happy Birthday, Mom." People were confused. Then they congratulated us. Everyone except my parents. My mom silently left, and my dad followed behind her. With all the commotion, I didn't notice they had left until a half an hour later. I called them, and they weren't picking up. I started to get worried. My sister said she would go drive over to their house and talk to them. She called me once she got there and said they were fine, but it was best I give them some time. Okay. The next day, my husband was at work, and they showed up at my house. They told me they wanted me to get rid of the baby, since it wasn't biologically related to them, and they didn't think it was fair, given my older sister's fertility struggles. They said if I wanted to be pregnant so bad, I should just be a surrogate for my sister. I told them my sister's infertility is sad, but I can't do anything about it, and I'm not getting rid of my baby just to not hurt her feelings. In July, we had our baby, a little girl. She's our beautiful ray of sunshine. The only problem, my parents have been calling Child Protective Services on us over and over. They want the baby out of our care. Here's where I may be the a-hole. My parents were having a party to celebrate their anniversary. They invited us, but insisted our little girl couldn't come. I said no. It's not like it was a child-free party. There was plenty of kids there. They were targeting her. After lots of arguments leading up to the party, they had accepted I wouldn't be coming. Halfway through the party, they asked me to quickly run out and get some desserts. I was angry, but they're still my family, and I live close, so I did. When I got there, my parents and my sister were visibly angry I had brought baby girl. My husband was at a freelance job, so I had to. They started arguing with me again, and I loudly yelled, "I'm not going to throw out my baby because you're acting like a child." The whole party turned, and I explained everything. Almost everyone at the party has stopped talking to my parents, or reached out to tell them what a-holes they are. My parents and sister are angry at me for ruining all my parents' friendships, but I think it was their own fault. Am I the a-hole? Honestly, I really don't understand why OP is still in contact with them. Their behavior is bizarre. OP didn't ruin their friendships. Their friends realizing who they really are ruined their friendships. I think OP needs to be careful because they don't sound like stable people. I think OP needs to go no contact as soon as possible, and maybe have more babies. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Fancy That 012 says, "Not the a-hole, but you should cut them off, in case they choose to go the path of finding a way so you won't have a child anymore." B. Hale 87 says, "Not the a-hole. This honestly makes my blood boil. Whatever happened to your body, your choice? Yes, your sister's infertility is sad, and it's hard on anyone who wants children, but can't have any. But that's in no way your fault. You shouldn't have to give up being a mother. Not to mention, they adopted you even though you aren't biologically related to them. But they're against having a grandchild that's not biologically related to them. It makes no sense. I think that if it continues and they don't change their tune about it, you should go no contact so that little girl of yours doesn't have to be exposed to grandparents who basically hate her for just existing because she's not related by blood to them." Lazy Butt says, "Not the a-hole. Their behavior and requests of you are absolutely bonkers. Cut contact with them ASAP. There's no point in subjecting you or your daughter to such insane people that clearly despise her existence. They want to blame you for exposing their heinous actions to their friends. Well, if they don't want to be outed for being crappy people, maybe they shouldn't be crappy people in the first place. You're better off without them, OP, and definitely file a harassment report against them for making false CPS reports." I, 33 female, divorced my husband, M, with whom I share a 6-year-old son, Jay, 4 years ago. M and I met in college, fell deeply in love, got married, and welcomed our precious son into the world. However, after Jay was born, things started to change. And soon, our only common ground was our love for him. We loved each other, but we weren't in love anymore, so we decided to separate amicably, always putting our son's best interest first. Em moved out, but settled just 2 minutes away from us. Our child means the world to him, especially because he grew up without a father figure, and he's determined to provide the best for our son. They share an incredibly close bond, and Em makes him his top priority in life. Our son has coped well with the divorce, thanks to therapy and the rituals we've established to show him that we're still a family and to ensure he has both parents in his life. For instance, his father comes over for dinner and plays with him every evening during my custody. We celebrate holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving exclusively as a trio, and we take him out for pizza after his soccer matches. 2 years ago, I met Chad, and our relationship quickly became serious. Chad is kind, ambitious, and gentle. I waited a long time before introducing him to my son, and they get along great. However, Chad has been feeling increasingly uncomfortable with the relationship I maintain with him. He doesn't understand why we can't move in together after 2 years, why I refuse to let him join us for holidays, or why he can't come over for dinner after Jay's games. I've tried to explain that I do this for Jay's sake and to maintain the stability we've built for him. Still, Chad insists that Em is too present. 2 days ago, things went too far. Jay's birthday is approaching, and he's been talking non-stop about a bike he's been dreaming of, which his father plans to give him. Chad was aware of this, but when I went to his place, I discovered the bike in the guest room. I didn't say anything and just watched as he grinned like a fool, telling me how happy he was to make Jay happy, and how he couldn't wait to teach him how to ride a bike. I interrupted him, telling him he wouldn't be doing any of that he's nobody in my son's life, and if Jay had anything to learn, it would be from his father. It was like I had slapped him. I told him to return the bike and that he wasn't welcome to my son's birthday party anymore. I warned him to think twice the next time he tried to take Em's place in Jay's life. Chad's reaction caught me off guard. He burst into tears and told me that it broke his heart to realize that he could never replace Em in my heart, that he could never measure up. He revealed that he wanted to propose several times, but had always given up on the idea because he didn't want a life where he would always be considered an outsider. I explained that I loved him, but I would never change my mind about Em. I've seen how much this man has suffered and the sacrifices he makes to be there for our son, and it could destroy him to see things change. Jay, on the other hand, is attracted to the routine we've established, loves his father with all his heart, and I refuse to disrupt his stability. I left Chad's apartment in anger, and I'm wondering if I should end our relationship because it's causing him so much pain. I love him, but I can never do it at the expense of my son's happiness. Am I the a-hole for standing my ground on this? Well, in my opinion, OP went way too far, especially by saying that he's nobody in her kid's life. I don't think he's nobody. He's OP's partner. What, she is planning to hide him and exclude him from things all the time? I would leave OP straight away if she spoke to me like that. She will never find a man who will be happy with such behavior. Basically, she humiliated her partner. And now let's see if the community agrees with me. Growl Dammit says, "You're the a-hole, not for the bike specifically, because if it was a gift his father planned to get, that's usually something, at least my divorced parents, y'all would have discussed and planned to make sure not to get the same gifts. But the reality of dating with a kid is that the person you marry will take on a role in that child's life, whether you want them to or not. I wouldn't suggest dating seriously if you're not going to seriously allow people in your life. It's going to be disruptive to your son living with another adult that's with his mom, but treats him like a stranger. Your boyfriend was doing what many moms wish step-parents would, and your ex-husband will need to work on insecurities if you bringing a partner into your life would hurt him. I guess what I'm saying is you can't half-heart your relationship. He's either in y'all's lives or he's out." Mustang66 says, "Not the a-hole. In the relationship for your son's sake. He has only one father, and Chad isn't it. Furthering this relationship will only bring you more pain and trauma to your son. Neither of you need that. Chad is too immature, and it shows." Cultural Stand 4354 says, "What the duck did I just read? I interrupted him, telling him he wouldn't be doing any of that he's nobody in my son's life, and if Jay had anything to learn, it would be from his father. If you say something like that, you more or less end the relationship. So I don't care really what was your agreement, but you're the a-hole. The guy sounds better without you." I, 25 female, am separated from my husband, 26 male, due to cheating on me with several call girls. I have a 1-year-old daughter that he only gets to see on weekends due to him bringing home girls on days when I was working, and he was supposed to be watching our daughter. My ex-mother-in-law is one of those crazy Christians you see on TV. Imagine Carrie's mom if she had a mama's boy son who obeyed her instead. And she fully blames me for the divorce, since if I wasn't such a shameful and sinful woman, he wouldn't have cheated. I only allow her in my house because my former father-in-law is a sweet man who loves his grandchild. He survived cancer a few years back and virus 2 years ago. He's just too tired to stand up to her, so I don't blame him when he can't get her to be quiet. Recently, they were visiting my daughter, and once my former father-in-law took her outside, she started on her usual insults. Honestly, I was tired, and I had worked a long shift the night before, and I was low on sleep, so I just told her she can't judge my divorce when she forced her husband to stay with her despite being a cheating pig like her son. Well, I basically set off Hiroshima, and she went full-on yelling, grabbed my former father-in-law, and they left. My ex-husband called me later that day about how I called his mother a W. And I said honestly, he can't judge, he was one too, which led him to yelling, and me just hanging up because I was too tired. Now she's calling everyone, telling people how I insulted her, and while some agree with her that divorce is worse than cheating, others say her infidelity was worse. Father-in-law only stayed with her because she was pregnant with my husband at the time. So am I the a-hole for calling out my ex-mother-in-law cheating after she wouldn't shut up about my divorce? Edit. My brother-in-law and I are helping my former father-in-law get a divorce by proving spousal aggression. My ex-mother-in-law does not allow him any access to my child or anything in his own life without her permission, or else she will throw a violent tantrum. My ex is not my former father-in-law's biological child, and no test was needed due to him being half Asian while my former in-laws were both Caucasian. He stayed to raise my ex and his daughters. His daughters are his biological kid. They're twins, a few years older than me, and both are no contact with their mother. Committing adultery is big on the top 10 list of bad stuff for Christians. It doesn't matter how pious she claims to be. She broke one of the 10 commandments. Actually, she broke 3 if you include don't covet and don't lie. Divorce is permissible in the case of adultery, so her infidelity is much worse than the divorce, based solely on the Bible, since she seems to think she's so holy. Hunter Dangerous 1366 says, "Not the a-hole, but honestly, stop inviting her over. If she wants to see baby, they can see her on dad's time at the weekend." Tech Flower says, "Not the a-hole. It's always the raging hypocrite calling everyone else a sinner. I'm pretty sure casting sin like that is just an attempt to control you through shame. Don't let her. And honestly, good for you fighting fire with fire." 3 Ninjas in My Bag says, "Not the a-hole. Stop facilitating their relationship with your daughter. That's for her father to do on his time. You don't need to be around toxic, hypocritical idiots. Your father-in-law can either come alone or stand up for you instead of being spineless. Cancer doesn't mean you are a pushover. He chose to be with her. He can reap the consequences of her actions with her." Context: me, 25 male. My sister, 35 female, and her fiancé, 30 male, started a business a few years ago, with me being their only employee. I helped them build the thing from scratch, never ever taking a rest day, even working on the weekends because at every point during our existence, we've been short-staffed, intentionally to save funds. Throughout the years, my responsibilities have only increased to the point where practically everything concerning the company has to be reviewed or done by me, including training any new employees and filling any sort of gap that might arise. My salary has not increased considerably in the meantime, but I didn't really complain because I like having a managerial role as much as I like working for my family. Last week, I decided I should really take a short break, going on a trip and let my sister and her future husband replace me for a few days in the workspace. Nothing too fatal, as I've made sure everything runs smoothly, and should any problems arise, I would always be on the phone, giving them instructions on how to fix it. My sister was okay with this scenario, but her fiancé was absolutely furious. He said that I am essentially irreplaceable and that they can't manage to do my work, especially since they're so busy with the planning around the wedding, and that I should totally get my laptop while on the trip and work from there. I was a bit let down, but I agreed on essentially doing the absolute bare minimum while I'm traveling, putting in about 1 to 2 hours of work per day. He thanks me and we shake hands. On the second day of my vacation, he starts pestering me to do more and more things we agreed that he should do, not me. I'm a bit pissed, but I say nothing. This escalates every single day to the point where I told him that I'm not going to do anything extra than what we agreed on, and that I'll do the things he wants me to when I get back to the office. He responds with a sarcastic, "Nice." A few hours later, he pesters me with some business calls again, and I got extremely pissed off, telling him that I quit. I get back to my hometown and tell them that I will only help them until the wedding, which is in a few days, and then they should go find a replacement, since I can't have one normal vacation once in a few years. They're both pissed, saying that this is pure betrayal and that they can't do what I do, blah blah. I told them that I will not backtrack and that I am surely leaving the company, and that my help until the wedding is going to be minimal, and that me and him should split the workload. It seemed fair. I didn't want any money for it. He refused. We met the next day and he says we should talk. I expected an apology, but he started essentially telling me how I am totally ungrateful, how he doesn't really need me there, and that I'm taking advantage of him because of the upcoming wedding. I told him I'm done, and if he wants me to push the company for one more month, I demand a 25% raise on my salary, or else I'm not going to do anything at all. He tries to fight me at this point, but I don't let him. My sister doesn't really say anything, just watches, and then they rode off. Later, he called me to apologize and that we should negotiate. I refused, telling him that I said what I said. He agrees to the offer. I have to work until the end of the month. Would I be an a-hole for refusing to attend the wedding? I feel betrayed by my sister for not standing up for me, especially since all these years, I've been the most hardworking person in the company. They've taken numerous trips, leaving me working alone, and I've never said anything. They couldn't let me have one normal vacation, and her fiancé even tried to fight me for this. I don't think this is normal. Potent Technicality says, "You're totally in the right, but I'd go to the wedding anyway. Why give them the satisfaction of painting you as the bad guy when everybody asks where you are? Eat their food, drink their alcohol, smile for them. If they say anything, offer them another 30 days at another 25% bump, or longer with an ownership stake." Lokio says, "Duck 'em. Go to the wedding, have a great time, eat and drink on their dime. Tell every single person you know or see how sad you are that your brother-in-law forced you out of the company you love. He's an a-hole. Your only responsibility now is to be sure people know it." Tower Air Girl says, "Not the a-hole. You are severely being taken advantage of. You were there from the start, and they didn't offer you any shares in the company that affords them enough money to take multiple vacations, but gets mad when you want to take one. Stop making them rich. Start looking for another job right away. And as far as the wedding, I would go to the wedding, but not the reception. That way you can say you did support your sister on her big day, even though she didn't think enough of you to support you."